إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونستغفره ونتوب إليه ونعوذ بالله تعالى من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Today, brothers, is the assembly number 11, 11th assembly of explaining al-Tahaawiyah. We want to make a quick scanning for the deviant and misguided cults. A person may ask, what is the importance of knowing about these cults? We say, how many cults we thought that they're okay? In a matter of fact, they were sleeping cells. You know the meaning of sleeping cells? And when they were awakened, or it became the right time to use them, they were used brutally and hardly against Muslims. So we want to know what is our position to them and what's their position to us. This is very important. The other thing is struggling against those who are considered to be Muslims, but at the same time they are harming Islam from inside. It is important. To gain a non-Muslim is a capital, is a prophet. P-R-O P-R-O-F-I-T, not P-R-O-P-H-E-T. You know the difference between both? See, that's why we say people think that ta'wil is the far meaning. The proper ta'wil is to select the suitable meaning which fits the context, regardless of what people of al-ahwa, that means the people of desire, selecting the unsuitable meanings, subjugating thereby the context to look fit to their false cult and sect, in which we call assertion or twisting the meaning of the context that the context obligates. Such as the word prophet. Did we mention the word prophet? What occurs to your mind when I mention the word prophet? Nabi. No. The moment I mention the word prophet, okay? Nabi. But when I use another word with it, the context will be telling me, no. This is not what was meant. What was meant is money, gaining. That's how it goes. For example, no God, no peace, no God, no peace. What do you understand from my word? N-O God, N-O peace. K-N-O-W God, K-N-O-W peace. Did you get it? N-O God, that means no God, no peace. No God, K-N-O-W, then you will know peace. So people, jump over these words, twist their meanings. So we want to explore the cults of misguidance. Exploring the false cults. First, al-falasifa, philosophers. They say Allah should not be having any sifa attribute for him. Multi-attributes to Allah means multi-gods. Jahmiyyah, they affirmed names and attributes of Allah, but they twisted all of them. Names and attributes. Mu'tazila. They affirmed the names, but they denied the attributes. So they said, Allah is Alim, bila Alim, Sami' bila Sam', Qadir bila Qudra, Hakim bila Hikmah. You know what it means? If you say to someone, you are rich, you are generous without generosity. So what does it mean? You're stingy. Right? If you say to someone, you are smart without smartness. Huh? What? Is he smart? No. He's not smart. Why did they say that? Because they are following the steps of the philosophers. They wanted to affirm the names, but they don't want to acknowledge the fact that the names, cause attributes to be derived from them. So why Allah is Al-Kareem? Because He is great in generosity. Those people say, no, Al-Kareem, that's ism alam mahd. It's only a noun. It has nothing to do with the matter of generosity. His name is generous, and that's all. That cannot be accepted. Al-Asha'ira, وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا الْأَشَاعِرَةِ. Al-Asha'ira, they affirmed 7 attributes of Allah. They call it as-sifat al-aqliyah. And by mind you can tell that those 7 attributes must be affirmed. Al-ilm, al-qudra, al-sam' al-basar, al-hayat, al-kalam, what else? Huh? I mentioned ilm. Al-irada. 7. And we say to them, there is no difference between what you affirmed and between what you denied. If the 7 attributes do not necessarily cause similarity between Allah and His creatures, so the other attributes the same. Because those attributes, 7 attributes, are the same attributes that can be used for mankind as well. Okay? Can a person be alim? Huh? Yes or no? And Allah is alim. وَفَوْقَ كُلِّ ذِي عِلْمٍ عَلِيمٍ. Okay? قال اجعلني على خزائن الأرض إني حفيظ عليم. Who said that? Yusuf. He said to the king, put me at the storage, the treasures of the earth. I am Hafiz, I am Alim. And these are 2 attributes to Allah as well. So what is the difference? Why those do not cause similarity, yet human beings are attributed the same? So if those do not cause imperatively any similarity, okay, istiwa as well, the hands of Allah as well, the coming of Allah, the Day of Judgment as well, the same thing. Thus we see with al-Asha'ira what we call it tahakkum. Tahakkum yani a matter of dictatorship, that's all. Because they say this, make people understand that there's similarity between Allah and His creatures, while those other attributes they don't. What is the law? What is the scale? There is no law here. It's only what you dictate on yourself. Those attributes, yes. Those other attributes, no. That's why Ahl Sunnah's doctrine is this: Al-qawlu fi sifatillahi wahid. The attitude concerning the attributes of Allah is one word, one ruling, no contradiction. And Allah, as I mentioned many times, and I'm going to repeat it now, Allah did not give us the ruling of denying that there is similarity between Him and His creatures. Yes, He did. He told us there is nothing that is similar, alike to Him. Yes. Yet, He showed us that negating similarity does not contradict with the fact that we should be affirming His attributes. Because in the same ayah, Allah attributed Himself with two attributes, Sami', Basir. If you say hands are jism, udu, member, Sami' Basir is also what? It refers to what? Member, udu. So if you deny this, deny that. Otherwise, if you say, no, this one doesn't mean any similarity, we say the same thing about the other attributes. So don't contradict yourself. And dealing in a double standard way regarding Allah's names and attributes. It's one standard, not double standard. We take one standard regarding the attributes of Allah, nothing more. Yet the Ash'ari themselves, they were divided into two categories. Two types of Ash'ari. Not only one, two types of Ash'ari. The early Ash'ari who affirmed Allah's attributes of ulu, highness, that He is high over His throne. They affirmed that Allah has two hands, as He mentioned. Al-Bayhaqi was one of them. Al-Bayhaqi, Ibn Asakir. They followed the way of a man called Abdullah ibn Kullab, the teacher of Abu al-Hasan al-Ash'ari. Abdullah ibn Kullab, he affirmed uluwullah over His throne, the coming of Allah, the hands of Allah. The other attributes, no, he made ta'wil to it. Ta'wil means twisting the meanings. That's what it means. And what they do, we don't call it, as I mentioned before, we do not consider it we do not consider it to be ta'wil. We consider it to be tahrif, twisting. I repeat, the early Ash'ari, they affirmed all the attributes of Allah, including the ulu of Allah and His hands. Other than that, such as Allah has a foot, for example, they made ta'wil to it, and many other attributes they made ta'wil to it. But they are much less than the latest Ash'ari, who became much closer to al-Mu'tazila, because they were led by a man called Al-Razi, Al-Fakhr Al-Razi. Al-Razi was fascinated with Ibn Sina, and he was explaining his books Al-Isharat. Ibn Sina originally with Ismaili. You know the Ismaili people. He was Ismaili, Batini. But he was genius. Rahimallah ibn Taymiyyah. He talked about those kinds of people. He said, those people are utu zaka'an walam yu'taw zaka'an. The difference between zaka and zakat. Zakat means purity. Zakat means genius. Mind. They are genius. They are genius. They have zakat, genius mind. But they were not given zakat, purification in doctrine. Utu zaka'an walam yu'taw zaka'an. الذكي لا يقال الذكي وليس الزكي. الزكي هو the purified person, a pure person. Just as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَلَا تُزَكُّوا أَنفُسَكُمْ هُوَ أَعْلَمُ بِمَنِ اتَّقَى. Do not claim the purity for yourselves, for Allah knows best who what. Because mankind sometimes they swear that they fear, Wallahi I fear Allah. Look, he said, أُوتُوا ذَكَاءً وَمَا أُوتُوا زَكَاءً أُوتُوا فُهُومًا وَلَمْ يُعْطَوْا عُلُومًا أُوتُوا سَمْعًا وَأَبْصَارًا وَأَفْئِدَةً but فَمَا أَغْنَى عَنْهُمْ سَمْعُهُمْ وَلَا أَبْصَارُهُمْ وَلَا أَفْئِدَتُهُمْ مِنْ شَيْءٍ. They were given fuhuman, understanding, but they have not been given uluman. And they were given sight and hearing and sight and hearts, but those three senses did not really benefit them. فَمَا أَغْنَى عَنْهُمْ سَمْعُهُمْ وَلَا أَبْصَارُهُمْ وَلَا أَفْئِدَتُهُمْ مِنْ شَيْءٍ. They did not get benefited by these senses they had. No. So the early Ash'aris, they affirmed الصفات الفعلية, the attributes of actions, but some of the attributes they denied. But they used to be affirming the highness of Allah, that it's real highness over His throne. Unlike the latest Ash'aris, who were led by Al-Razi. Al-Razi returned the Ash'aris so close to the Mu'tazila way. And also Al-Juwayni, the teacher of Ghazali. So how many scholars you mentioned now, Ash'ari scholars? Razi, Juwayni, who else? The third one? Razi, Juwayni, Ghazali. All the three repented from their way. So never be deceived by someone who may come to you and says, Al-Imam al-Razi al-Ash'ari said in his book of tafsir, etc., etc., etc. Now wait a minute. When he was on the bed of death, he was biting his fingers as an action of regret. He and Juwayni, both, they said the same thing. I wish I haven't sought ilmul kalam. I wish I didn't have it. Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani said in his book Lisan al-Mizan that Al-Razi wrote a will before his death that indicate his tawbah from the way that he was following. Al-Razi, what was Al-Razi before his tawbah? Was he Mu'tazili? No. Was he Falsafi? No. What was he? Ash'ari. So that indicates that Ibn Hajar is not Ash'ari, by the way. Many people they say Ibn Hajar, he is Ash'ari. No, he's not. And I have 7 evidences from his book Fath al-Bari to prove that he was not Ash'ari. I don't like to drift you, but I'll leave you with this. I'm not going to mention the 7 evidences except in another time, inshallah. As for the Ash'ari themselves, we can see them divided between the early Ash'aris, who were much better than the late Ash'aris. Late Ash'aris, they became so close to the Mu'tazila. Just for example, we find in the books of Ash'aris, such as Juwayni, Ghazali, they said, Istawa ay istawla, Yadullahi ay qudratullah. What's the meaning of istawa? To raise over the throne. Istawla? To conquer. To conquer. They say istawa ala al-arsh means he conquered the throne. Can you conquer the chair? Can you make a fight with a chair, then you conquer it? Isn't it a mocking to Allah? He conquered the throne. The hand of Allah is the power of Allah. Who said that before them? Let's see who said it. We're going to use Abu al-Hasan al-Ash'ari himself. In his book Maqalat al-Islamiyyin, page 291, he said, وَقَالَتِ الْمُعْتَزِلَةُ اسْتَوَى أي اسْتَوْلَى. Then we said to them, is there anything that Allah did not istawla, conquered? So why Allah mentioned the throne only that He conquered it? So He did not conquer something else? And how do you say that He conquered it? Was it before conquering it, conquered and controlled by someone other than Allah? Then after He created the heavens and the earth in 6 days, suddenly He decided to conquer the throne? Which means it was not before under His control. Who was saying these things? Abu al-Hasan al-Ash'ari himself. He was refuting the Mu'tazila, accusing them that this is their belief. And now the Ash'aris, if you ask them stawa, they say istawla. Yadullah, they say qudratu. Subhanallah. Get back to the book of al-Ash'ari, whom you're calling yourself, using his name for your cult. Get back to his book and you will be finding that Abu Hasan al-Ash'ari was criticizing Mu'tazila for saying these words that now you're saying. And the other crime of you is this, that you say, we are Ahlus Sunnati wal Jama'ah. This is the belief of Ahlus. Poor people, they don't know that this way, they call it Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, is the way of Mu'tazila. Why they don't realize it. But as for the Ash'aris themselves, they divided also into two sects. One of them, they believe that the names, the attributes of Allah should not be illustrated, interpreted. No. We don't know their meanings. Allah sent those attributes as a test for us, whether we will know their meanings or not. If we sought to know their meanings, we'll be punished by Allah. We're not allowed to know the meanings of those attributes. No? But Allah said in His book, كتاب أنزلناه إليك مبارك ليدبروا آياته وليتذكر أولو الألباب. A book that we descended to you, blessed, so they will understand its meanings. They will ponder upon its verses. All of the verses or some of them? Including the attributes of Allah? Sure. Because Allah did not say except His attributes. And did Allah descend His attributes for the better of... We should mention two important reasons for Allah's attributes. Number one, by attributing Himself to us, He is praising Himself to us. Is that correct? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, إذا وصف نفسه بصفة فهو ثناء منه على نفسه لأنه يستحق هذه الصفة. If Allah attributed Himself, described Himself in something, that is to what? He's praising Himself. It is Allah only who deserves to be praised by Himself, because He deserves fully, 100% what He attributes Himself. What is the benefit for us? We can fear Allah more. When we know more about Allah, we'll fear Allah more. So there is a benefit behind understanding the attributes of Allah. No one should be saying, no, it's better you don't know the meanings. It's not correct. So those who say that we should not know the meanings of Allah's attributes, what are those people? What do we call them? Mufawwida. What's the meaning of Mufawwida? We leave the matter of knowing the meanings of the attributes of Allah, we leave them to Allah. We differ understanding their meanings. We don't know. The Ash'aris should not be angry with us if we criticize this, because their Ash'ari brothers criticize them for that. Al-Qushayri. Al-Qushayri is the person of fitna that he caused in Baghdad during the Abbasi Khilafah. You know, at every time there is something called Salafis. In certain times they may give them nicknames such as Hanabila. Hanabila are extremists, classified as being extremists. So he had the problem with them. Then he called Al-Mansur. He was the Khalifa at that time. What is that Khalifa? He was Shi'i. So he called Al-Mansur, Ya Mansur! His calling now is historical. It's been mentioned by history, what he did. He sought help by this Shia Khalifa against the Salafis, and that caused a lot of bloodshed because of his Ash'ari manhaj. I read his book all, Al-Risala Al-Qushayriya. In this book he was describing the people of Sufism. He said, أولئك قوم كنس الله بهم المزابل. Allah swept the trashes. Allah swept the garbages by those Sufi people. How can you say that? Do you imagine if one Salafi used that word against Allah? They have a good media. Their media is similar to CNN, ABC network. Propagandas. Look what the Wahhabis say. But if one of the Ash'aris said it, forget it, ignore it. He said in his book, Ar-Risala al-Qushayriya, and I have a copy of it, wallahi, in this computer. He said, those Sufi people, he's trying to show that they're extremely ascetic people. Zahid, to the extent that Allah sweeps the garbages by those people. How can you describe Allah like that? So the Mufawwida Ash'aris who said that we don't know the meanings of Allah's attributes, they are criticized by the other types of Ash'ari who believe that you must make ta'wil for the sifat. Al-Razi was one of them. He said you must. He made it obligatory to twist the meanings of Allah's names and attributes. He made it obligatory. Al-Bayhaqi, he contradicted him by saying we should not be knowing the ta'wil of these sifat. Sometimes he makes ta'wil, sometimes he goes to tafwid. They are contradictory. Even Al-Bayhaqi himself. Regarding the hand of Allah, yes, no problem. Regarding the ulu of Allah, yes, Allah is in the height, as he described himself. So the Mu'awwila Ash'ari, they criticized the Mufawwida Ash'ari. Why? They said to them, you're saying that we should not know the meanings of Allah's attributes? Alright, what about the Prophet Muhammad? Did he know the meanings of Allah's attributes of not? Al-Qushayri was one of them. He said, you dare saying that Muhammad was not aware of Allah's names and attributes? Now, if those Mufawwidah said, no, the Prophet knew it, then they'll be having another problem. Did he convey the meanings of those attributes, or he did not convey them? Why he kept them for himself only? You can see every cult must be having a clear contradiction to their false beliefs. Why? Because the source of their knowledge was not pure. Many other sources were mingled in it. What is that? The worst of them is ilm al-kalam. But all the Ash'aris, the early Ash'aris, the late Ash'aris, the Mufawwida Ash'aris and the Mu'awwila Ash'aris, mashallah, they have agreement on one thing. What is it? To oppose the way of Abu Hasan al-Ash'ari himself. Because that was not his way. He wrote a book called, what's the name of the book that Abu Hasan al-Ash'ari wrote? Al-Ibana an Usul al-Diyana, declaring the basis of our religion. He's talking about what? Doctrine, what to believe in. And he wrote it on the same methodology of Ahmad ibn Hanbal. Not only that, but he said, if you ask me, what is your belief? I'll be saying to you, my way is the same way of Ahmad ibn Hanbal radiallahu anhu, because he is the man that Allah conquered the Mu'attila and Jahmiyyah by him, and he granted victory to the Diyana, to the religion of his religion, by this man Ahmad ibn Hanbal. Nasar Allahu bihi ad-din. So Abu Hasan al-Ash'ari, he declared that this is my way. So Abu Hasan al-Ash'ari is supposed to be what to them? Listen to me carefully. Since he said that my way is the way of Ahmad ibn Hanbal, so what do we classify Ash'ari now? Abu Hasan al-Ash'ari, that he's what? That he's Hanbali. He said my way is the way of Ahmad ibn Hanbal. So Abu Hasan al-Ash'ari is Hanbali now. So why did you take the name of Abu Hasan al-Ash'ari for yourselves, for your cults, and you opposed the way of Abu Hasan al-Ash'ari? He told you that my way is the way of Ahmad ibn Hanbal. Why did you oppose? Why did you oppose his way? The only thing you did is that you picked his name and used it for your new cult. That's the problem. How can we prove this? We have Al-Murtada al-Zabidi, the commentator of Ihya Ulum al-Din. In this book, second volume, page 4. Second volume, page 4. He mentioned that Abu Hasan al-Ash'ari had 3 levels or stages of his life. First stage, i'tizal, he was Mu'tazili for 40 years. Second stage, affirming the 7 attributes of Allah, 7. While making ta'wil for the other attributes, such as wajh, 2 hands, qadam, saq. He followed in this way the way of Abdullah bin Sa'id ibn Kullab. That's the second stage. Third stage, affirming all attributes of Allah without takyif, without searching of the howness. Wala tashbih, without making the attributes of Allah similar to His creatures. Jariyan ala minhaj as-salaf, following by this the method of as-salaf as-salih. وهذا ما يظهر في كتابه الإبانة, and this is what is being clearly proven in his book Al-Ibana. So his book Al-Ibana represents what? The last stage of what? Of Abu Hasan al-Ash'ari. This is what By the way, this man, the author of إتحاف السادة المتقين شرح إحياء علوم الدين المرتضى الزبيدي, he's an Ash'ari scholar, by the way. طيب. السبكي in his book طبقات الشافعية, page volume 3 page 99, or volume 4 page 236, updated edition. Okay, in this book, in this place, in this page, he said yes, the statement of Abu al-Hasan al-Ash'ari had been repeated by him many times, saying, my way is the way of the honored man Ahmad ibn Hanbal. He mentioned that many times. Ibn Asakir, the closest man to Abu al-Hasan al-Ash'ari, he affirmed, he emphasized this. He said the early Ash'aris still believe fully in what the book Al-Ibana consisted. They believe it strongly. The highest and the strongest believe. لا يزالون يعتقدون ما في كتاب الإبانة أشد الاعتقاد. They believe in every single word of the book Al-Ibana. Where did he say it? He has a book called تبيين كذب المفتري فيما نسب إلى أبي الحسن الأشعري, refuting some scholars who criticized Abu al-Hasan al-Ash'ari. In this book, page 388, he admitted the book of Al-Ibana for Abu al-Hasan al-Ash'ari. Also he said, Al-Zabidi, the commentator of Ihya Ulum al-Din, he said, وَمَنْ أَرَادَ مَعْرِفَةَ قَدْرِ الْأَشْعَرِي, whoever wanted to know the value, the great value of Abu al-Hasan al-Ash'ari, وَأَنْ يَمْتَلِئَ قَلْبُهُ مِنْ حُبِّهِ, and whoever wants his heart to be filled by the loving of this man, Abu al-Hasan al-Ash'ari, فَعَلَيْهِ بِكِتَابِ تَبْيِين كَذِبِ الْمُفْتَرِي, he should be reading this book. Written by who? Al-Murtada al-Zabidi. What did it consist? The declaration, the confession that Abu al-Hasan al-Ash'ari wrote a book called Al-Ibana. So in this book, Abu al-Hasan al-Ash'ari is telling the Ash'ari today, this is my way, the way of Ahmad ibn Hanbal. Is it the way of Ahmad ibn Hanbal to look for ilm al-kalam and to twist the meanings of Allah's attributes because of this? That's not the way of Ahmad ibn Hanbal. Also Ibn Asakir, he wrote a book, in his book he said, لو لم يصنف عمره غير الإبانة واللمع لكفى فكيف وقد تفنن في العلوم بما جمع. He said, if he did not write any other book but one book, that is the book of Al-Ibana, it will be sufficient as a great book for Abu al-Hasan al-Ash'ari. That's good. That's good for us, because now we can show them that you're opposing the Ash'ari himself. Ibn Adabah, his Hanafi scholar, in his book Ar-Rawda al-Bahiyya, he also admitted that this book belonged to Abu al-Hasan al-Ash'ari. Al-Dhahabi, he confirmed the fact that An-Nawawi wrote the book Al-Ibana by his hand. He wrote it by his hand. In his book Mukhtasar al-Ulu, page 239. That is why Al-Kawthari, have you heard of Al-Kawthari? Yeah, Kawthari. What is Al-Kawthari? He was the Mufti of the Uthmani Caliphate until it was collapsed. When it was collapsed, he was extradited. Yeah. He was told to leave Turkey. And there, I think in Greece or some, I forgot the name of the place that he was deported to. This man was extreme Jahmi, enemy for the Sunnah. And he was impudent, waqih, that he was criticizing many companions, saying that those ignorants, they don't know Aqeedah, those companions, they're ignorant. He was Jahmi. But despite his Jahmi way, he had to give his confession that yes, al-Ibana belongs to Abu al-Hasan al-Ash'ari. But he wrote his book as Taqiyyah, to regain the Hanbali people, then to persuade them to accept his doctrine. He said that Abu al-Hasan al-Ash'ari, he pretended to be returning to the way of Ahmad ibn Hanbal, and that was Taqiyyah. Where did he say that? In his footnote under the pages of Tabyin Kadhib al-Muftari, which was written by Ibn Asakir, the closest one after Abu al-Hasan al-Ash'ari. Where did he mention it? In his footnotes of Tabyin Kadhib al-Muftari, page 392. He admitted that yes, Abu al-Hasan al-Ash'ari wrote the book of Al-Ibana, but he was using it, what? As a decoy to hunt the Hanbali people and to change them to become Ash'aris. What is this? There's one doubt they bring to you, that Abu Bakr ibn Fawrak, he was also the closest to Al-Ash'ari, who knows about all what Al-Ash'ari wrote of books, yani. But Ibn Fawrak did not include the latest book of Abu al-Hasan al-Ash'ari within the list of books that he mentioned. He did not mention the book of Al-Ibana as the last book he wrote before he died. Now some Ash'aris take advantage of this and they say, see, Abu Bakr ibn Fawrak, he did not include the book Al-Ibana, so it's not considered. But look what he said, Ibn Asakir said. Ibn Asakir corrected this mistake of Abu Bakr ibn Fawrak, saying, هذا آخر ما ذكره أبو بكر ibn فورك من تصانيفه وقد وقع إلي أشياء لم يذكرها في تسمية تأليفه. He said, this is the last book that Abu Bakr ibn Fawrak wrote among the books of Abu al-Hasan al-Ash'ari. But he missed to know many books that I have them now with me. And he mentioned among them the book of Al-Ibana for Abu al-Hasan al-Ash'ari. Tabyin Kadhib al-Muftari, page 136. Among the contemporary Ash'ari leaders now, there's a guy today, he's from Jordan, his name is Sa'id Fuda. He's also Jahmi, but he confessed that yes, Abu al-Hasan al-Ash'ari wrote his book Al-Ibana. Bahuth fi Ilm al-Kalam, page 48. This presentation was important that you may get this important information about the Madhab Ash'ari. Now we finished. Let's get back to our topic. What is the belief of Ahl Sunnah regarding this issue? We say that القول في أسماء الله وصفاته على حد واحد. Our attitude, our belief, our method regarding the names and attributes of Allah is by one standard, all. Any attribute that you bring to me, my standard with it is this. Now we affirm it, we know it has a meaning, we understand the meaning, But we should not be indulging ourselves in seeking to know how is that attribute. There's a big difference between seeking to know the meaning and between seeking to know the fact, the howness of Allah. And we mentioned last 2 days, we mentioned the attitude of Imam Malik when someone came to him and said, Istawa ar-Rahman ala arsh istawa. Kayfa istawa? He said, how did he make istiwa? How was he raised over the throne? How? Then Malik said a word that al-Dhahabi said, this is the ruling of Ahlul Islam, that Allah guided him to say it, and every Sunni Muslim today say it. What is it? Al-istiwa'u ma'loom. The istiwa, the raising over the throne of Allah, is what? Ma'loom. What's the meaning of ma'loom? It's known. Wal-kayfu majhul. And the kayf, the howness, is what? Unknown. And I said to you that the Ash'aris use another narration which says that Malik said, وَالْكَيْفُ غَيْرُ مَعْقُولٍ. What's the meaning of وَالْكَيْفُ غَيْرُ مَعْقُولٍ, brother?
What is the meaning of the word before?
Al-istiwa'u ma'loom?
No, the word before. The first one.
That's the first one. Al-istiwa'u ma'loom. Wal-kayfu majhul. Al-istiwa, the raising of Allah over His throne, is understood. The meaning of that is understood. Wal-kayfu majhul, but the how is not comprehended. We can't. So some Ash'aris, they say, Imam Malik said, Wal-kayfu ghayru ma'qul. See, here you can see the twisting of words, twisting the meaning of words. غير معقول, that means it is not comprehended by our minds, as you translated it. While they wanted you to believe that غير معقول means impossible. You know, in Arabic, if we hear in news something amazing, we say غير معقول, that means مش معقول, يعني مستحيل, that's impossible. Oh, very cold water, مش معقول, that's impossible. So they take advantage that we use the word مش معقول, غير معقول, which means مستحيل, it's impossible. They play games here. What Imam Malik meant with this, that it cannot be understood the how. It cannot be comprehended by our minds. Okay? Is this understood now, inshallah? طيب. Let's now Bismillah. Let's now continue what Imam Tahawi said. He said, ولا يصح الإيمان بالرؤية لأهل دار السلام لمن اعتبرها منهم بوهم أو تأولها بفهم، إذ كان تأويل الرؤية وتأويل كل معنى يضاف إلى الربوبية بترك التأويل ولزوم التسليم وعليه دين المسلمين. And I like that from al-Tahawi. Let's translate it. A person's belief in the vision of Allah by the people of the paradise is not correct if he imagines what it is like, of interprets what is it like, or interprets its or interprets it according to his own understanding, since the interpretation of this vision, or indeed the meaning of any of the subtle phenomena which are in the realm of lordship. The realm of lordship is made correct by abandoning its interpretation and strictly adhering to surrender, for this is the religion of the Muslims. He's saying that the real you know what is the best ta'wil for the attributes of Allah? Is to abandon the ta'wil. The best ta'wil is to abandon the ta'wil. It seems to me that Tahawi is inclining to tafweed because of this statement and the statement before that we read last time. He's preferring tafweed, which is the other extreme of the Ash'aris. Ahl Sunnah are in a way between. They make ta'wil for all the sifat. That means they understand their right meanings. They interpret it in the right way of the Salaf al-Salih. They don't deny it. They don't take part of them to use ta'wil while the others know. Their way of the sifat of Allah is one. We affirm all. We understand the meaning of all. And we deny any kind of similarity between those attributes and mankind's attributes. That's all. What I like here is he's saying, he meant inshallah by this that we should be abandoning to be indulged with the risk of speaking without knowledge about Allah's names and attributes. Okay. He said the best ta'wil for these attributes is to abandon the ta'wil and to commit yourself to the surrendering as to what Allah affirmed to Himself. And he said, this is the deen of the Muslims. This is the religion of the Muslims. 3-4 days ago, one Shia person, he said to me that the way of Tawheed is to deny Allah's attributes. And this paragraph is being mentioned in Nahj al-Balagha. They believe it. That at-Tawheed, Kamal al-Tawheed, Nafyu al-Sifat. That's exactly what they said. The perfect Tawheed is to deny Allah's attributes. I said, what? I have to be a bit harsh. I said, claiming that denying Allah's attributes is the perfect Tawheed, is the perfect religion, may Allah curse that type of religion. I had to say it. May the curse of Allah be on such religion. That's not the religion of Islam. The religion of Islam is to affirm what Allah affirmed to Himself. It's not of Deen al-Islam to deny Allah's names and attributes. But what did he mean by وَلَا يَصِحُّ الْإِيمَانِ بِالرُّؤْيَةِ لِأَهْلِ دَارِ السَّلَامِ? What does he mean of Dar al-Salam? But what did he mean by وَلَا يَصِحُّ الْإِيمَانِ بِالرُّؤْيَةِ لِأَهْلِ دَارِ السَّلَامِ? What does it mean of Dar al-Salam? What does the meaning of Dar al-Salam? The house of paradise. What is the evidence? لهم دار السلام عند ربهم وهو وليهم بما كانوا يعملون. Ya Allah, I love that ayah, Allah. So beautiful. For them, the believers, Dar al-Salam is waiting for them, the house of peace. لا يسمعون فيها لغوا ولا تأثيما. They never hear any bad word in it that may be said inside paradise. Finish. If a person here has any problem, the word that begins with F is ready with him. The word that begins with S, then H, is ready with him. On the edge of his tongue. Ready to be emerged, ready to be uttered. And I mentioned to you before what Isa did. Isa saw a pig, and he said to the pig, pass in peace. Pass in peace. So his disciples said to him, do you say that to a dirty animal? He said, I'm customizing. You say customize, right? Or accustoming. Yeah. Accustoming my tongue to speak the good. You know, if you get used to, for example, saying, may Allah curse the Pope, may Allah curse the Christians, may Allah curse the Jews, may Allah curse... You get used to it, and next time you will say it against one Muslim. Because you're accustomed to it. Be careful. This is the benefit we can grab from Al-Masih alayhi salam when he saw a pig and he said to the pig, pass in peace. Why? He's accustoming his tongue to speak the good. Now, so this is Darus Salam. Can people see their Lord even before Jannah, entering Jannah? Yes or no? Yes? Yes, the answer is yes. But the best sight, they see him inside Jannah, but they see him before. And Allah did not say that كلا إنهم عن ربهم يومئذ لمحجوبون except for the disbelievers, except for the fujjar. They won't be able to see Allah. Because according to Sahih Bukhari and Muslim, that Allah will be appearing himself to the believers by an image, and they'll be saying, no, you're not our Lord. No. We're gonna wait here until we see our Lord. If we saw him, we will know him. Then he'll be appearing to them by his real image. This is narrated in Sahih Bukhari. So the believers, they will be seeing Allah before entering Jannah and after entering Jannah, as an honor given to them, because Allahu Akbar, because they believed in him while they did not see him. They believed, but they did not see him. The Ibadi people and the Shia with them, they deny that Allah can be seen at the Day of Judgment. What? Haram alayk ya akhi. Please, that's haram. I want to see my Lord, ya ammi. Don't tell me I'm deprived from seeing my Lord. I was deprived from seeing him here. Don't tell me that there also I'm not going to be able to. No. I cannot accept a religion that tells me you will never be able to see Allah, neither in this life nor in the other life. That's not the religion of Islam. Now Tahawi continues. وَمَنْ لَمْ يَتَوَقَّ النَّفْيَ وَالتَّشْبِيهِ زَلَّ وَلَمْ يُصِبِ التَّنْزِيهِ. Anyone who does not guard himself against negating the attributes of Allah or likening Allah to something else has gone astray and has failed to understand Allah's majesty. فإن ربنا جل وعلا موصوف بصفات الوحدانية منعوت بنعوت الفردانية ليس في معناه أحد من البرية. He's saying, anyone who does not guard himself against negating the attributes of Allah or likening Allah to something else has gone astray and has failed to understand Allah's majesty. Because our Lord, the Exalted, can only be described in terms of oneness and singularity. And no and no creation is like him in any way. Is that understood? Is there any question until now about what I have translated? Did you understand the translation, by the way? Yes or no? Shall I repeat it? Okay. I'll try to understand it my way, to translate it my way. Whoever does not avert tashbih, zalla, he will be slipping, yani in misguidance. Walam yusib at-tanzih, and he won't be hitting he won't be achieving the pure concept of tanzihullah, exalting Allah. For our Lord is described by the sifat of wahdaniyah, by he is attributed or described by the attributes of wahdaniyah, oneness. Man'utun binu'ut al-faradaniyah, this is the same thing. ليس في معناه أحد من البرية, in the meanings about Allah, no one can share him with these meanings. Is that understood now? No. We affirm that. And when we affirm the attributes of Allah, we affirm them in this way. إثباتا بلا تشبيه تنزيها بلا تعطيل. When we affirm Allah's attributes, we affirm them in such affirming without causing us to fall in tashbih, without causing us to make Allah similar to His creatures. And when we use the way of tanzih, we exalt Allah over what is not fit to Him. We do that without falling in ta'til, denying Allah's names and attributes. So our way is between both. When we affirm, without tashbih. When we negate, without ta'til. Then al-Tahawi says, وَتَعَالَى اللَّهُ عَنِ الْحُدُودِ وَالْغَايَاتِ وَالْأَرْكَانِ وَالْأَعْضَاءِ وَالْأَدَوَاتِ. Allah is exalted above the limits and members and organs and adawat. Adawat, how to say adawat in English? Parts. He's beyond having limits placed on him or being restricted or having parts or limbs, nor is he contained by the 6 directions as all created things are. Here is the problem. He's saying that he is not contained by the 6 directions. What are the 6 directions? Can you mention them to me? Don't go like that. Fear Allah. Up and down, left, right, east, west, south, north, etc. He says that Allah should not be contained by the 6 directions, just as any created beings, any created things can be what? Can be contained inside a bigger body. Is this a good word? Is this a good thing to say? The answer is no. And now the Ash'ari, they are using this word always. تعالى الله عن الحدود والغايات والأركان والأعضاء والأدوات. Allah is high above being attributed by these things to Him, such as direction, limits, organs. Yeah. Okay. We disagree with some of what al-Tahawi mentioned. Number 1, can Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala go to a place such as the lowest heaven? Yes or no? Yes. What is the evidence? Many evidences. One of them is at the last part, third part of the night, Allah goes down. Going down through a place, right? Is this place? Yes. Allah does what He will. We don't know how this happened. That's why we can't give it any kind of comparison to our systematic, lively system. We can't. طيب. Shouldn't we be affirming at least one direction to Allah? Yes or no? Yes. What is that direction? Up. So al-Tahawi did not exclude the up direction to Allah. He did not what? He did not approve. So we disagree with that because Allah approved that direction to Himself. So why do we approve? Why do we approve that direction of up to Allah? Because this is what He approved for Himself. So we should not be saying if Tahawi speaks, we should not be listening to Allah. No, the opposite. If Allah told us that He is in the heaven, over His throne, and that He goes down to the lowest heaven at every night, we should not be saying no. Because our way is to what? To affirm what Allah had affirmed to us. We should not be saying no. Your system is different. Right? For example, in the grave, the angels will be letting the dead person to sit down. He will be sitting down. According to our system, there's no way to do that. Khalas. No. We should be saying that even if we believe that He sits down, His sitting down is not like our sitting down, because His system of life is different now. So if this happened to the dead person, he'll be sitting down, while in our sight, if we reopen, if we dig the grave and we look at him, we'll be seeing him sitting down. He'll be lying down. So how can he be lying down in our system? Yes, that's to our system. But in the other system, the system of al-akhirah, no. You don't see what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is doing to this man in his grave. The angels will be saying to him, sit down. فَيُقْعِدَانِهِ. But if you, for example, after 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours of burying one of our beloved people, if we open the grave, we'll be seeing him what? Lying down, not sitting. So therefore, despite our respect to Imam Tahawi, we say there is one direction among the 6 directions that Allah attributed Himself to. What is that direction? Up direction. We stop here, barakallahu feekum, because I got a restricted, what is that? Restricted, right? Is that right? Restrictions. 1 hour, please. Can we finish between 8:35? Is it torn? No. 5 minutes for questions and answers, and then get back home.
Imam Ahmad was a companion, or was after the companion?
No, he was far after.
What far after?
Maybe 190 and even more.
After you say before radiallahu anhu,
رضي الله عنك يا أخي.
عنك.
عنك أنت. أنت رضي الله عنك.
But you say that title to the companions only.
Did I say that?
No, which?
Oh, I didn't say it. When it becomes a habit, for example, if I say it once occasionally, radiallahu ank. But if I have to say radiallahu ank always, every time, otherwise you'll be blamed, no, that's bid'ah. So occasionally if I say, for example, what's your name? Muhammad what?
Ali.
Ali what?
Ahmed.
Ahmad what?
Uday.
Oh my God, what is that? If I say, radiyallahu anka ya Muhammad Ali, are you going to say to me, oh, don't say that, I'm not Sahabi, I'm not a companion? No. You have to swallow it, digest it. But if keep saying that to you every time, always, no, that's bid'ah. So occasionally I can say about Ahmad ibn Hanbal radiallahu anhu, there's nothing wrong. I can say to you, alayka as-salam. Bukhari 25 times when he ever mentioned Fatima, he was saying alayha as-salam. And this is more than radiallahu anhu. So there's nothing wrong with saying it. Sometimes when we get used to the word, we may understand something else. For example, if I say, for example, did you die yesterday? No, yeah? Then I say, rahimakallah. Your name is Muhammad Ali. I may speak to a brother and say to him, you know this man, rahimahullah. What's the meaning of rahimahullah now? Rahimahullah usually should be meaning what? May Allah grant His mercy what? On you. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you say it always, no. No.
So if you made a mistake one time, it is okay. But if you...
It's not a mistake.
It's not a mistake.
No. If you say it occasionally, it's not a mistake.
Okay.
But if it becomes a habit,
It's good.
okay, that you should be blamed if you don't say it, that's a bid'ah. Okay? For example, can I say Sallallahu alayk? Huh?
No.
I can, yes. If you give me some zakah money, for example, then I say, oh Allah, make salah on him. Sallallahu alayk. A family called Abi Awfa, a family called Abu Awfa. Among them is a young boy. That every time he's so keen just to give the Prophet Muhammad money as support for his army. What the Prophet said? Do you remember it? Those Al-Abi Awfa, they gave their due donation, sadaqah, which means zakah. Every time they give it to the Prophet said, Sallallahu alayk. Oh Allah, let your salah be on this man. So did he say Sallallahu alayk or not?
You say now that you say
خذ من أموالهم صدقة تطهرهم وتزكيهم بها. Do you know the meaning of this ayah? Take from their wealth, from their money. Sadaqah. Take sadaqah from them, from their money. تطهرهم. This charity will be purifying them, increasing their righteousness. So the Prophet said, Sallallahu ala ali Abi al-Awfa. May Allah salah be on the family of Ibn Abi al-Awfa. Why? They were rich people and they were giving. And the Prophet fulfilled what he was ordered in the Qur'an. In Surah At-Tawbah. 2 pages before the end of Surah At-Tawbah, Allah is saying, خُذْ مِنْ أَمْوَالِهِمْ صَدَقَةً تُطَهِّرُهُمْ وَتُزَكِّيهِمْ بِهَا وَصَلِّ عَلَيْهِمْ إِنَّ صَلَاتَكَ سَكَنٌ لَهُمْ. So in this ayah, we're told that the Prophet was ordered to make salah on every person that give donation. Sallallahu alayk. الصلاة لغويا دعاء. نعم. لغويا الدعاء. شرعيا أقوال وأفعال مخصوصة مبتدأة بالتكبير مختتمة بالتسليم. Salah, according to the methodology, Sharia methodology, words and actions that are being began by takbir and ended by taslim. This is the Sharia definition of salah. So let's say someone who's making some majaz, for example, saying, if you ask him, did you pray? He said, yes, I prayed to Allah. Okay, thank you. If you ask him, take more details from him, what did he mean by salah? He'll be saying to you, you asked me to pray to Allah and I did. How? Did you make salah? Yes. What was your salah? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad, Allahumma aghfirli, Allahumma arhamni. This is prayer. So, do you pray? Yes. How do you pray? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. So you should not be playing with these words. Yeah, understood. Here he's saying the explanation of that you should be on moderate position between ta'til, denying, and between tashbih. وَمَنْ لَمْ يَتَوَقَّ النَّفِي. What I understand from is there is a sort of ambiguity in his word. There's sort of ambiguity. What did he mean by nafi? No. I didn't see any good interpretation for what he said. Al-Tahawi, sometimes he mentions some words which are not really helped by Allah, such as this one. وَمَنْ لَمْ يَتَوَقَّ النَّفِي. Whoever does not avoid nafi. Nafi what? No. Yeah, he who does not avoid nafi. Nafi negation, yes. Maybe negating that Allah is similar to His creatures. We may take it that way. But these words sometimes are not really selected accurately. No. Because as the commentator here, and that is Shaykh Fawzan, made his comment on this. Look what he said. لا بد من الوسط بين التعطيل وبين التشبيه. There must be a way of moderation between ta'til, denying, the attributes of Allah, and between what? Affirming. He should not be going to extremes in terms of tanzih. Tanzihullah, that means exalting Allah over what is not fit to Him, His Majesty. Because if he does this, if he will go extremely to avoid what? Tashbih, that may lead him to the other way, which is ta'til, denying Allah's attributes. وَلَا يُثْبِتُ إِثْبَاتًا فِيهِ غُلُوٌّ. And he should not be affirming extremely, falling in extremes in terms of his affirming of Allah's attributes. He should not be going to extremes to the extent that he will be falling in tashbih. So he should be in the right way. So we will affirm what Allah affirmed to Himself without tashbih, without tamthil, without tarsim, without ta'til. This is the straight path, al-mu'tadil, the moderate one. فالله سبحانه لا شبيه له ولا مثيل له ولا عديل له. For Allah, the Almighty, has no equal, similar to Him. So there's ambiguity here, and I hope it is not a mistake of Tahawi. Okay? We try to fix it, we try to solve it in the best manner. Meant to say here that when we negate anything that is not fit to Allah's majesty, we should not be going to extremes, and we should be avoiding that we may fall in denying what Allah described Himself. So even when we negate, we should be very careful lest we fall in ta'til, denying what Allah described Himself. So al-Tahawi, I think, was right in this term. But still, I know about al-Tahawi what you may not know, that in many cases he fall in mistakes regarding talking about Aqeedah. And this is one of them, I believe it. We'll stop here, Barakallahu Feekum.